Hi, good morning, and welcome to the ZP Developer Zone. So we do this webinar every Sunday at 8 a.m. London time, and it's really just a sort of vlog and podcast, just to kind of summarize and round up news from this week. So if we jump into it, the ZP team, and thank you to them for doing this. The ZP team have actually been to Warwick University this week. It's not something we talk about too much, but we do actually have a facility that's very near Warwick University, and so they went there and they sort of showed off the technologies and they talked to the students, which I think is actually quite interesting because obviously when you're at university, it's so intriguing sometimes to actually see the kind of technologies that are actually, let's say, on the market and being commercialized in the local area. So we were happy to go along and do that. Some other news from ZP for this week is we were also, one of our fine engineers, they produced a new flow cell. So at ZP, we do actually have quite a strong page on flow cells. It's not something we talk about an awful lot, but you can bring materials to the sensors in many ways. And one of them is, for example, a sort of microfluidics typed pump channel. And we put a little blog out about it, but when you actually go to the page, you'll see that we've got quite a lot of material on flow cells. So I hope that's sort of super interesting to people, and if they've got any questions about this kind of flow cells, microfluidics, and electrodes and biosensors, that people reach out to us. I think we're always happy to try and answer those types of questions. Now, some other news from ZP for this week as well is we did have our Developer Zone webinar on Thursday at 8 a.m. London time. So we do this vlog podcast 8 a.m. on Sundays, and then we have a sort of sister webinar to this on Thursday 8 a.m. London time. And on there this week we spoke about nitrate, ammonium, and pH sensors. It's quite an interesting one because the Inquirer wanted to know about sort of open source potentiostats, and so I went through a list of the open source potentiostats that are out there, and we sort of made a recommendation. And it's also when you're designing let's say a circuit for an electrochemical sensor, you do need some sort of instrument on the bench with you that works. So many people I've seen, they're designing the electronics, but they've no way of, when it's not working, they always blame the sensor because they've no way of verifying that the sensors are actually working other than the electronics they're building. So even if you are building electronics, it's good to have something nearby that sort of, is the gold standard, something that let's say, actually does work. So we had our webinar this week, and I appreciate the people who attended, and we also got a lot of likes after it, so I do appreciate that. It was kind of nice. At ZP, we do try to support clients and customers, and so we had a client and customer who they'd had a Sense It Smart. Sense It Smart is a fairly low potentiostat manufactured by PalmSense. You can also buy it from Zimmer and Peacock, and we were just showing one of our clients how to put the potentiostat into the instrument, into the PC, how to do all the settings, and then how to actually do the solutions themselves as well. So we did some work, as I say, on helping a client understand the procedure. I sometimes think that videos, when it's quite simple, like how to run a fructose sensor, I think videos are more, let's say, impactful than people necessarily using manuals. I think videos kind of, in a video we show you what to do, you just follow along and hopefully you'll get to the same point. So I do prefer us to do videos when trying to help people. Now some other news from this week. At ZP we have been developing these very small electronic packages with sensors on them. And we're just demonstrating that though we do this a lot for CGM, that's continuous glucose monitoring, you can also use these also for sort of sensing in chilies, for example. Also maybe sensing in strawberries. I mean, these kind of strawberries and chilies, for example, they have molecules in there linked to their, let's say, quality and their taste. And these molecules are electrochemically active, or we have biosensors for them. And so you can monitor these things directly in the fruit. And then we also extended it to carrots. Carrots have, I think it's betanin in it, and we can sort of monitor the molecules in there as well. And then it's almost getting close to the end here, but we were also visited Swansea University this week, where we talked about our collaboration with Swansea University and how we found Swansea University a very innovative university to work with, and we do appreciate the support that they give us at Swansea University. So thank you to them. And then finally, this is I think at ZP we do a lot of sensors. Most 99.99% of what we do is actually in the liquid phase. So, measuring urine and blood and tear duct, also teardrop, sweat, plasma, saliva. These are the kind of liquid samples. These are liquid samples that we analyze. But we've now just released a small pack, a 5-pack of carbon monoxide sensors for people who want to do carbon monoxide sensing. We think more actually in the higher temperature range, because these are sort of particularly useful for the, let's say, the higher temperature range. So carbon monoxide gas sensing is also something that we now have on the web store, and we're starting to play into client projects. So if I was to summarize the last week, it feels as always very busy. Just to know that a couple of us from the ZP group are off to Belgium tomorrow. But if I was to summarize the week so far, then we've obviously been to Warwick University, we've been to Swansea University, we've been working on flow cells for electrochemical sensors, we've been advising on nitrate, ammonium and pH for seawater analysis, and we've also been we've released a carbon monoxide sensor, and also saying, look, we can sense glucose in diabetics in a continuous manner. This is called CGM, but we can also do a similar thing in fruits and vegetables, etc. So if you have any questions for ZP, just reach out to us. Otherwise, I wish you a good week, and hopefully speak to some of you during the week.